Good morning, geometry students, or afternoon. I don't know what time it is. Hey, we're going to start talking about area of regular polygons today. So as you might recall from earlier, a regular polygon is one where all the side lengths are the same size and all the interior angles are the same angle. So we've got a regular polygon here, congruent sides and congruent angles. That's what makes it regular. Before we can talk about how to find the area of that, we need to define some terms. So we're going to let capital P stand for perimeter. So as you might guess, that would just be the distance around the polygon. Then we're going to have this thing called little a, which little a stands for the word apothem, which is kind of a funny little word. And the apothem is the distance from the center to any of the sides. So this guy here would be the apothem. We could just as easily draw an apothem over to that side. So the apothem is the distance from the center of the polygon to any of the sides. And it being the shortest distance, that makes this a right angle. Now there's one other term that we need to know, and you already know this term. It is radius. And the radius of a polygon is the distance from the center to one of the vertices. Now, one other piece of information we're going to maybe need to know is how long is the side length? And usually we call that S. So S equals the side length. So that would be like this guy here is S, or this is S, or this is S. Now, the formula for the area is this guy right here. Capital A, which stands for area, it equals the apothem times the perimeter divided by 2. So that's how you find the area of any regular polygon. You first find its apothem, multiply it by its perimeter, and then divide by 2. Now on this next page, we're going to kind of revisit some old friends that will help us find specifically the apothem and sometimes the perimeter. So let's have a look at that. So here you see a pentagon. There are 5 sides. Let's go ahead and tell the world it's a regular pentagon. So all these angles and sides are the same. So we have a regular pentagon, and in that regular pentagon we see right off the bat the value of the apothem. So the apothem is 5 units. And that's all we're given on this polygon, and we want to find its area, but all we're given is the apothem. So what we're going to want to do next is we're going to want to add a piece into our diagram. I'm going to let you think for a minute about what that is that we might want to add. So there's the segment we added. What's that called? That's called a radius. So we've added the radius into it. And now, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but we have in this polygon, we have a right triangle where we have the apothem, which is 5 units. And that's what we're going to find the area with, is using this triangle. So we're going to need to know this angle or that angle up there. Either one of those will work. And you might recall we have a way of finding the interior angles of a polygon. So the interior angles of a regular polygon are n minus 2 times 180 divided by n. In this case, n is 5, so that's going to be 5 minus 2 times 180 divided by 5, so that's 3 times 180 divided by 5. So what's that value? So this angle is 108 degrees, so that's this right here. Now this little green segment, the radius of the polygon, divides that 108 degrees in half. It bisects that angle. That makes this angle down here 54 degrees. The other thing to notice is that this is this segment right here, and if I knew that, then I could find the perimeter of the polygon, and then I would have everything I need, the perimeter and the apothem, from which I can get the area. So here's a right triangle, here's an angle, and a side opposite the angle, and I'm looking for the adjacent side. So what does that remind you of? So to find x, angle, opposite side, adjacent, so that's tangent of 54 degrees equals 5 over x. So x equals 5 divided by tangent of 54 degrees. Turn your calculator on, make sure you're in degree mode. Okay, so from the previous screen, we know the apothem is 5. Let's see if you can find the perimeter. And the perimeter is 36.3 because using our trig from earlier, we found this side here to be 3.63. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of those in this figure. So 3.63 times 10 is 36.3. Now we're ready to find the area. The area is the apothem times the perimeter divided by 2. So that is 5 times 36.3 divided by 2. And you and your calculator can figure out what that is. So the good news for you is that trig is back. I know you've been waiting and it's finally happened. So yay, trig, right? Okay. So here's what I want you to try to do. I want you to try to do 12 through 17 on page 462 in your book.